Good morning, everyone. It's Janet Wakeland here with Remarkably Created, and we are on day 17 of our countdown to the new celebration. So let me switch this to live so that we can all look at the great products together and everything. And just a little bit of twinkle and shine here in the studio today. One of the things that I love about living close to New Orleans and living in Louisiana is how everybody embraces glitter and decorating and costumes and fun like that. And not just for Mardi Gras, definitely for Mardi Gras, but you're always going to see fun little fascinators, fun little kind of beads and necklaces. You're going to see beautiful seasonal outfits and things like that. So in keeping with that, I made my own little fun hat fascinator using different poinsettia picks from the at-home store. So definitely am in my element down here outside of New Orleans. So what we're looking at today is we are looking at what I call a super suite. It's a larger than usual suite of products, and you'll see why here in just a second, called Nature's Sweetness. It is found on page 40 to 43 of this catalog here. And let's jump right in. So I call it a super suite, okay? I don't know what anybody else calls it. But it's got 2 stamp sets, and each one of these stamp sets also has a set of dies. It has designer paper, it has some amazing embellishments, and it has some great trim, as well as the beautiful paper. With our suites, there's a great I Want It All button. You just enter one code, and everything that's considered part of that coordinated suite comes in one order. Everything's also available individually. If you just want some paper to kind of breathe some life back into your crafting stash of paper, you can get just the paper. If you want the cool embellishments you're going to see in a minute, you can get just that. So again, super sweet, lots of great stuff, and I Want It All button. So the 2 sets here are kind of botanical, I guess would be a great way to describe them, in nature. And they are going to be great sets for layering and doing some of that collage work. For those of you that are into some of those really cool journals that people are doing, this would be a lot of fun for that. So in this one specifically, you've got some 3 great greetings. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. Just a little note to say hello. Thanks for making me smile. Then you've got some great pieces here that you can just use to add some texture, some depth to your cards and things like that, especially when doing collage work or when doing a little bit of layering without making your layering too thick. You're going to have 3 dies that cut the flowers out. So these elements here will be cut with a die. So you have those to cut. Of course, you can always fussy cut, but there are 3 dies that fit that. Then here with Lovely and Sweet, again, a little bit more of that botanical look here where you can see the official names of those flowers. Another fun little background piece. Same thing here, just kind of a fun little element for layering. And then you've got 3 greetings in this one, the bolder congratulations, so sorry, and just sending a little bit of love. So those are the stamp sets. And then looking at the dies, we're going to bring these in and out during this presentation today. This is all the dies from both stamp sets on one today, okay? So you've got these open work dies again that are going to cut your images. So I mentioned on this one here, you've got 3 dies to cut this. And then here again, you're going to have your dies to cut those larger floral images as well. So you're going to be able to do some of that fun cutting. And then you've got some great bonus dies that don't cut an image, but add again some fun texture and elements. I'm going to showcase this piece here for you in just a second. You're going to notice that it has a dotted line down the center. This does not cut a rectangle. It does not have a cutting edge here. It does cut circles and then that dotted edge, which is actually a perforated edge. This beautiful textured vein and veined vine. You've got a piece here that looks like a ticket, some little flowers, some little florals, and then this really fun tab that I snuck in on you in one of the other presentations and used it for a greeting at the top of a layered element. some more greens and things like that. So we'll bring that back in just a second. Let's take a quick look at the paper and the other elements. So you've got this foil paper on one side. So you've got your smaller little foiling, beautiful leaves. You have, it's Pebbled Path is the color combination for this, with your gold script. Then you have like dictionary page with gold marks like this. And if you like that gold splatter look, what's really cool is you're going to be able to use this stamp right here on any designer paper, any cardstock with Versamark and gold embossing, and you're going to be able to create this look yourself with that image from that stamp set. Then we have kind of this screen grid paper that's distressed. And then we have some of the different botanicals. And then we're going to flip it over, and you've got that nice matte side. So you've got some beautiful florals. You've got another piece that's like a distressed journal or book. This grid paper that I've been going to town on and using. You've seen this in quite a few videos. You saw it yesterday with the honey card. Then we have this look here. This piece of paper easily cuts into note cards. So you're going to be able to easily make 6 quick note cards with the 6 elements here. Just cut it at 4 inches, crossed at 6, take a little bit off the top and the bottom, and you're good to go. And then another really fun grid paper. So let's bring this one back in first, and let's talk about this one. So if you end up with both sets of dies, you're going to be able to cut so much from this paper. You're going to literally end up with just like a handful of confetti from this paper. So from our Lovely and Sweet, you're going to be able to cut the larger elements out from this paper and your leaves. So that's from the Lovely and Sweet. You're going to be able to cut those out. Then from the Notes of Nature, you're going to be able to cut this out, a little kind of orchid plant, your smaller leaves, and then your smaller flowers. So you're going to be able to cut so much out from these that it's just crazy how many cards and things you're going to be able to do. And as a matter of fact, I cut an entire sheet this morning, and I've already used some, but I mean, look at all of these here, guys. It's just amazing. All of, I know it's kind of contrast on contrast. I should have put a white piece of paper down, but just the sheer volume of paper that is there. And then one thing to think about is a lot of times you have these images around the border, and I even cut those as well. I'm going to showcase that for you here for just a second. So this is from the border, okay? It's not a full image. It's not that full die, but look at that nice straight line on it. So I'm going to, put that up there in that top corner. I've got a really beautiful element. Here again, that's from the border piece. It's got that nice straight line. And then some of these other pieces, here this has got a few lines on it. But again, those partial images, depending on the size of them, you're going to be able to do a little extra layering with them as well. I'll just put that behind there. So you can hide those straight edges or those incomplete edges when you tuck them under things. So don't ignore this or think that this is scrap. Even cutting out partial images, you're going to be able to do some great layering and things like that. Like I said, I wish I had just saved it. I wasn't going to pull it out of the trash can after I thought about it, but literally it was just the smallest handful of confetti once I was done with that. And so while I have these out too, also die cutting some of your just finer prints are going to give you a whole different look as well for layering. So just die cutting without any lines or anything. These are definitely defined leaf shapes. So using your dies that way is going to add some value to them. And then talking about your designer papers, okay? Stamping directly on your designer papers, whether you leave this black and just kind of, again, have that nice tone on tone look. Sometimes I think we think all the time about stamping on cardstock, but we forget about stamping on our designer papers, okay? And of course you could also choose to color it with blends, pencils, with a blending brush, whatever, but don't forget to add value by stamping. The other thing that you can always do is you can always use your watercolor pencils, you can use your water painters, you can use your Stampin' Blends, your dual tip markers, all kinds of things. And you can color your paper in as well. You don't have to leave it the way that it is. You can definitely, again, have some fun coloring it, whether you color a whole thing, whether you just make a few elements pop up. So just some fun things for you looking at the paper. So the other part of this suite, I'm going to hold these up. These are called cork rounds, and they are cork, like a cork board. They are self-adhesive, and they're in 2 different sizes. The other thing is, I think this is from the right suite. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I'm going to show them to you anyway. I'm thinking that they're not from this suite. But I was playing with them, and maybe that's why I have them out. They're champagne ice, little dots. And then you have this amazing faux trim that is flat and shiny. The negative to this faux trim is that if you've got pets that like ribbon and trim, something about this faux trim, this was the results of T getting a hold of a brand new ribbon. He managed to chew his way through here and chew his way through the top. But it's amazing ribbon that I'm going to have to rewind here in a few minutes. That's the only negative about it, guys, is that pets seem to love it. My 2 boys have been searching this out in the studio, and it's not real leather, but they still seem to like it for some reason. So that's the downside, but it is beautiful and it is fun to work with. So I want to bring this back in here for just a second, just to remind you this one die here, okay? It only cuts, and let's get rid of the rest of the dots here. It only cuts perforation lines and holes. Okay, it does not cut out. But what's really fun, make sure all the little pieces are out. What's really fun about this one, and I'm just gonna grab some scissors and cut it out now so that I can do what I want to do with it, is that you can definitely just put it on a border of a piece of paper, and you'll see that on a sample. You can also cut it evenly on both sides. But where these perforations are, is you're going to go ahead and fold it and just give it a good crease with your fingernails, with your bone folder. And I usually like to go both ways. I find that with perforations, it makes it easier to tear. And then you're just going to be able to tear that. And you're going to be left with, yeah, good, Janet. With 2 pieces that you're going to be able to use, not just one, that looks like notebook sheets that you pulled right out of a notebook. And it's just a really fun element there. And where the little pieces are, you could use your nail to kind of distress them a little bit, use a sanding block to make them look like you really ripped them out hard instead of nice and neat from a die. But that's what that piece does, is it creates that look of torn notebook paper. So let's bring them all to life here with some samples for you this morning. So here is one of the images that's from the page that has 6 images on it. Went ahead and used that ticket piece as a background for the banner. So sorry. Just added a few of those champagne dots, which is why I think I confused myself this morning. Few little extra flowers from the dies, and then just a pop of Granny Apple green behind that. And this card was inspired by a sample from the catalog. Remember that the catalog is an amazing collection of over 200 full color samples. You don't need it to shop with Stampin' Up. Everything that I showcase is available in my online store, but having a catalog is a huge benefit. So here we had some fun just really layering and playing with different elements and kind of trying to go for that distressed collage look. What's nice is some of the papers in this collection kind of shorten the work of your collaging and your layering and kind of getting that real fussy fun look because, again, of the style of papers that are part of this. Stamped, this is one of the stamps from the collection. I'll bring this back in so you can see it. It's this piece right here. This one, I added this little one. And then behind here a little bit is this one. And part of kind of getting that depth and layering without being overwhelming is to stamp with the same color ink as paper. And of course, that's one of the greatest things that I love about Stampin' Up! Is their color coordination. So we have wild wheat on wild wheat in this case. Here's the greeting again. And I went ahead and die cut from the designer paper so that there's a little bit of gold on that. We've got some of those little cork rounds. And then again, those catalogs are so inspiring, and it reminds you to use things that you forget about, okay? Because you have such a great organization system, right? They're all organized. They're not laying around your desk in front of you. You've got all the shiny new things that sometimes we don't think about pulling out other things. And so in this case, these are our little flat butterflies, and they were on a sample again in the catalog, and they are perfect, guys. There's that little tab. We used a little blending brush around the edge. So just kind of had fun creating that collage look. This is another sample from the catalog, kind of just edited slightly. My interpretation of it. Again, adding some of those pops of color. There's that dot stamp, that distressed dot stamp. Congratulations. There's just a little piece of that faux leather peeking out, some different colored leaves. And then these were die cut from the designer paper. So something else fun, this piece right here that you're going to be able to do with it is instead of tearing it, you're going to be able to weave it. So here you can weave it. And then again, this copy was copied from the catalog. The samples of this suite were so many great things to point out that recreating them so that I could point out those things to you really made sense. But you'll definitely be seeing some originals posted and things like that. So weaving it, I wanted to make sure you saw that. But then this is a technique that I love every time I see it, but I very seldom remember to do it. And that's using dies that are die cut in the same color of the cardstock to just really create a cool look of tone on tone depth. And I love that. And so again, copying that a little bit from the sample in the catalog. And then a slim card and a chance for me to showcase for you that torn paper edge. And what's nice is to do two of them, to do it longer. You'll do one and then you'll just line up the holes over the other holes, and it just keeps going as long as you want it to be. Another great way to add the look of layers without a lot of depth or it being overwhelming is to go ahead and use vellum as well. That can pull some of that out. This background behind this whole layer is this stamp right here, creating my own background look with the stamp. So this whole suite is going to open up a lot of creativity, a lot of possibility. The little dots on this one, that was from the new Everyday Details set of dies that we showcased earlier in the week. And then brought in some more of those butterflies. Because of course, once you have them out and you remember to use them, you use them like on the next 10 projects, right? Isn't that kind of how it goes? So lots of beauty in this suite here, guys. You're going to have so much fun coloring, remembering to stamp directly, die cutting all of the shapes and the images, and hopefully you remember to use up even those edge pieces and things like that as you create. So have some fun creating. Make sure that you have an amazing, remarkable day. And I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time with day 18 of our countdown. And just a real quick shout out to Bonnie Blanchard. She is our latest daily winner. So Miss Bonnie, make sure that you message me or email me to claim your prize, guys. Have a remarkable day, guys.